Do you ever get the feeling that someone, or something, is watching you, even when you're completely alone? That subtle weight in the air. That faint shiver running down your spine. That unexplainable instinct that makes you turn your head, only to find nothing there. What if I told you, it's not your imagination? There are silent forces surrounding you right now. Guardians you cannot see, monitoring every move, every choice, every thought. And what they're protecting you from will shake you to your core. Listen carefully, because once you hear this, you won't look at your life the same way again. Some of you are being shielded from battles you don't even know exist. Every decision you make, every path you choose, is being silently recorded and influenced, not by technology, not by people, but by something far older and far more powerful. You stumbled onto this video for a reason. That's not chance. That's alignment. That's timing. And before we go any further, pause for a second and hit the like button if you feel this tug in your spirit right now, because something deep inside you already knows I'm speaking to you. They've been here long before you were born. Watching. Waiting. Protecting. Silent guardians who move in dimensions your eyes cannot see, operating in frequencies your ears cannot hear. They don't interfere unless absolutely necessary, but when they do, your entire life shifts without warning. The breakup you didn't understand. The job you didn't get. The person who suddenly walked away. You thought it was random, but it wasn't. They moved people. They redirected events. They allowed certain storms into your life, not to punish you, but to prepare you. And yet, here's the unsettling truth: these guardians are not always alone. There are others, watchers who are not here to protect you, but to trap you. Forces that want to pull you into chaos, confusion, and destruction. You are living in the middle of an invisible war, and every single moment, something is fighting for your mind, your faith, your future. And that chosen one is why you feel so different. Why people misunderstand you. Why certain doors stay locked while others open without explanation. You are being guided. You are being monitored. But here's what most people never realize: silence doesn't mean absence. Just because you can't hear them doesn't mean they're not there. In fact, their silence is often the loudest sign that they're working behind the scenes, aligning everything in your favor. Think back for a moment. Remember that time you avoided a place at the very last minute, only to later hear something terrible happen there. That gut feeling, that told you to pause, to wait, to turn around, that wasn't random. That was them. Whispering. Protecting. Intervening without leaving a trace. But here's where it gets even deeper. Sometimes they don't just guide you, they test you. They place you in moments where you feel completely alone, abandoned even, just to see if you'll still move forward in faith. This is why the pressure on your life has been so intense lately. Why your relationships feel strained. Why your mind feels restless. You're not breaking down. You're being refined. They're watching how you respond when nothing makes sense. Because what's coming next requires a stronger, sharper, unshakable version of you. You may have wondered why people treat you the way they do. Why some are drawn to you instantly while others seem uncomfortable around you for no reason. That's because they sense it, even if they can't explain it. There's a weight on you. A presence. Something about your energy disrupts the unspoken balance around you. Light always exposes darkness, and darkness doesn't like being exposed. That's why certain people distance themselves without warning. It's not you, it's what surrounds you. And if you've ever felt like opportunities vanish the moment you get close, or like blessings slip through your fingers right before you can hold them, that's not failure. That's redirection. Your silent guardians don't just watch, they intervene to remove what looks good but isn't aligned. They'll close doors, take away distractions, and even allow heartbreak to protect you from a deeper disaster you can't yet see. It hurts now, but later you'll understand why you had to lose what you thought you couldn't live without. But there's another side to this, one most people aren't ready to hear. Not everyone who's watching you has good intentions. There are forces, both seen and unseen, tracking you for the opposite reason, to stop you before you step fully into your purpose. Every time you level up, they push back harder. That's why some seasons of your life feel like constant resistance. It's not because you're cursed. It's because you're chosen. The greater your calling, the greater the monitoring. Right now, as you're listening to this, they're evaluating your next move. They're observing who you trust, what you speak, and how you react under pressure. Because your silence, your strength, and your discernment are your greatest weapons. The less they can predict you, the less they can control you. So ask yourself, what if the delays, the rejections, the unanswered prayers, were never meant to harm you? What if every single one of them was a calculated move to push you exactly where you're meant to be? And you've felt it, haven't you? That strange pull in your spirit, like you're on the edge of something huge but you can't quite see it yet. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. Something is building. Pieces are shifting in ways you can't understand yet. That heaviness you've been carrying isn't punishment, it's preparation. And soon, the reasons behind every sleepless night, every unanswered question, every invisible battle, will make sense. But before we get there, I need you to hear this: stay alert. Because the closer you get to your breakthrough, the louder the distractions become. Not everyone smiling at you is on your side. Not every opportunity is meant to be taken. Not every open door leads to your destiny. Your guardians are watching, but so are your enemies. And in this season, discernment isn't optional, it's survival. You've been asking for signs. You've been wondering if you're on the right path. This is your sign. You weren't drawn to this by accident. You're being prepared for something far greater than you realize, and the ones watching you know it too. That's why life feels heavier. That's why you feel different. Because you are different. And the ones who know your potential, both the protectors and the predators, are silently moving around you right now. Everything you thought was random isn't. Everything you lost had a reason. Every delay had a purpose. Every closed door was protection. You are being watched. You are being guided. You are being formed into someone powerful, someone unshakable, someone unstoppable. And the moment you fully understand who you are and why you've been chosen, everything changes. But here's the question that matters most. Are you ready to see what they've been protecting you from? Because once you see it, there's no going back. Listen closely now, because from this point forward, things get heavier. What you're about to hear is not meant for everyone, but if you've made it this far, there's a reason. You've been living your life thinking you understand the battles around you. But what if I told you, the real war isn't the one you can see? It's not in your career, your relationships, or your finances. The real war is hidden. It's silent. It's fought in places your eyes cannot reach and your ears cannot hear. And you, chosen one, are right in the center of it. That's why you've been feeling so restless lately. That's why your spirit has been heavy, even when your mind can't explain why. Something unseen has been watching you. There are guardians assigned to you, ancient, powerful, silent forces that don't need your permission to act on your behalf. They've been here long before your first breath and will remain long after your last. But make no mistake, their presence isn't casual. It's intentional. If you've been feeling pulled away from certain people, pushed out of certain environments, or mysteriously blocked from paths you thought were right for you, that's them. That's intervention. That's protection disguised as rejection. And yet, there's a reason you feel like something, or someone, is always opposing you. Because alongside the guardians, there are also watchers, predators of the unseen world, waiting for one slip, one mistake, one weak moment to strike. They study you, chosen one. They analyze you. They know your habits, your fears, your triggers. They track what breaks you, and they whisper into moments of doubt, hoping you'll destroy yourself before you ever rise into who you're meant to be. But here's the twist most people miss. Those very struggles you've been facing? The heartbreaks, the disappointments, the betrayals, the sleepless nights, they've all been monitored. Not a single tear has gone unseen. Not a single sleepless night has been ignored. You think no one notices, but the silent guardians do. Every battle you fought that no one clapped for, they've seen. Every time you wanted to give up but didn't, they marked it. Because all of it is shaping you for what's coming next. Do you remember that moment where you almost made a decision that would have destroyed everything? That one phone call you didn't answer, that place you didn't go, that person who suddenly cut you off? That wasn't coincidence. That was divine interference. That was the unseen hand moving in silence to keep you safe from what you couldn't yet see. Sometimes, your protection feels like pain, but what you thought was rejection was actually redirection. And this is where it gets deeper. Your silent guardians don't just protect you from external danger. Sometimes they protect you from yourself. They'll allow your plans to fail if they would have led you off your destined path. They'll close doors you prayed would open. They'll break apart connections you swore you needed. And yes, it'll hurt. You'll cry. You'll question everything. But later, when the truth is revealed, you'll realize why they intervened. But you need to understand something critical right now. You are being observed by more than just the guardians. The predators are watching too. And every time you get close to unlocking your purpose, they'll launch distractions to pull you off course. Ever notice how, right when you decide to change your life, something comes to test your resolve? Right when you commit to healing, someone from your past reappears? Right when you focus on building your future, chaos erupts in your present? That's not random. That's strategy. You are at a tipping point. This is the season where your silence matters more than ever. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Stop defending your decisions to people who can't see where you're going. Because the ones monitoring you don't need your words. They're measuring your actions, your consistency, your faith when nothing makes sense. And here's the part that most don't realize. The more unpredictable you are, the harder it becomes for your enemies to manipulate you. Protect your plans. Guard your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your next move. Pause for a moment right here. If any part of this is resonating with your spirit right now, hit the like button. It lets me know you feel this. But more importantly, it signals that you're listening to the right message at the right time. Now listen carefully, because the next part is something few ever talk about. Your guardians don't just shield you from physical danger, they shield your spirit. There are moments where something tries to infiltrate your thoughts, to plant seeds of doubt, fear, and hopelessness. But out of nowhere, you find strength you didn't know you had. That wasn't you. That was them. That was protection at a level you can't comprehend. But here's the question you need to ask yourself right now. If they're protecting you so closely, what exactly are they protecting you from? The truth is, not everyone around you is who they seem. Some people were sent into your life to strengthen you, while others were planted to study you, to trigger you, to test you. And your guardians have been silently pulling strings, exposing faces, and creating distance where you couldn't see the danger yourself. This is why certain relationships ended without explanation. This is why certain people suddenly turned cold. This is why betrayal came from where you least expected it. You didn't lose them. You were saved from them. And yet, the deeper you go into your purpose, the more intense this monitoring becomes. Because your future isn't just about you, it impacts generations. It carries weight. The silent guardians know what's at stake, and so do the forces opposing you. That's why your battles feel heavier than most. That's why you've been fighting storms people around you can't even see. That's why you wake up feeling tired even after sleeping. You're not just living, you're being forged. You're being positioned right now, piece by piece, moment by moment, for a destiny far greater than you can currently imagine. And the shifts happening in your life are not random. Every delay, every heartbreak, every closed door, every unexpected blessing, all of it is part of a bigger design you weren't meant to understand yet. But there's one more thing, and this is where most people fail. Your next breakthrough, your next elevation, depends on your ability to stay still in moments of confusion. To trust the silence. To believe that even when everything looks wrong, it's still working for you. If you can hold on, if you can stay grounded when the noise around you gets louder, your silent guardians will align something so big, so undeniable, that you'll look back and realize, nothing was wasted. And we haven't even touched the surface yet. Because there's something else you need to know. There's a reason you've been hidden, overlooked, underestimated. That was never a mistake. That was strategy. And soon, The ones who dismiss you will watch you rise into the very position they tried to keep you from. But before that happens, you need to know the full truth about why you've been monitored so closely. Because the real danger isn't just outside of you, it's closer than you think. Take a deep breath, because from this point on, we step into territory most people aren't prepared to hear. If you've been feeling like something has been pulling you, protecting you, even hiding you, this is where it all begins to make sense. There's a reason your life has felt different, heavier, and more chaotic than those around you. It's because you're walking a path most people never get close to. But here's the unsettling truth: the very fact that you are chosen, marked, and destined makes you a target. And the silent guardians know it. That's why they monitor you so closely. That's why they shift entire timelines without your awareness. Because right now, you're living inside a battlefield hidden in plain sight. There are forces at play, unseen, ancient, and relentless. They are after your mind, your spirit, your light. They don't care about your money, your status, or your reputation. They're after your alignment, because the moment you step fully into who you were created to be, they lose control. And that's why every distraction, every betrayal, every unexpected storm has been unleashed around you lately. It's not chaos. It's strategy. Your guardians see this war long before you ever sense it. That sudden urge to avoid a place? That instinct to walk away from someone? That random delay that frustrated you? Those weren't coincidences. Those were interventions. Sometimes protection comes disguised as disappointment. Sometimes the universe moves you out of harm's way before you even know you're in danger. But here's the part that sends chills down your spine: some of the danger isn't out there. It's closer than you think. Not everyone who stands next to you is standing with you. Some were sent to drain you, to study you, to get close enough to sabotage what you've been building. And your guardians have been watching them, closer than you realize. That's why certain relationships ended abruptly, why certain people fell away without explanation, why some opportunities slipped right through your fingers. You thought you lost something, but in reality, you were saved from something. But the predators in this battle aren't just people, they're patterns. Patterns designed to trap you. Cycles meant to keep you stuck. Every time you try to move forward, you're pulled back by familiar chaos, familiar pain, familiar temptations. And just when you think you've escaped it, it finds you again. That's not random. That's resistance. That's why your guardians monitor you so closely. Because they know the weight you carry. They know what's inside you. And they know that one wrong move could reroute everything you've been working toward. Ever notice how right when you start healing, someone from your past shows up? How the moment you decide to focus, distractions flood in from every direction. How when you're finally ready to elevate, sudden storms hit you hardest. That's not coincidence. That's the battlefield. And you've been in it without realizing how high the stakes are. But let me tell you something powerful. The guardians assigned to you have never left your side. They're silent, yes, but they're not distant. You've survived things you didn't even know were meant to destroy you. Accidents that didn't happen. Decisions you didn't make. People who turned on you before they could harm you. That wasn't luck. That wasn't chance. That was them. Pause for a moment and think about this. How many times have you looked back on a situation and said, "I don't know how I made it through that"? You made it because you weren't fighting alone. Every step you've taken has been shadowed by unseen movements you'll never fully comprehend. And right now, as you listen to this, there are battles being fought for you that you'll never know about. That's how much you're worth. That's how much you matter. But there's a deeper layer to this protection, and this is where you need to stay with me. Your guardians aren't just reacting to danger. They're preparing you for destiny. And preparation isn't gentle. It doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like isolation. It feels like losing people. It feels like everything in your life is collapsing, when in reality, everything unnecessary is being stripped away so you can carry the weight of what's coming. You've felt it, haven't you? That deep sense that something big is shifting, even if you can't see it yet. That's not anxiety, that's alignment. That tension you've been feeling in your chest, that restlessness you can't explain, those constant changes you didn't ask for, it's all part of positioning you for what's ahead. But there's a reason you're being monitored so closely right now. The next chapter of your life carries more influence than you realize, and the forces against you are intensifying their attacks. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the more violent the spiritual resistance becomes. That's why it feels like everything is going wrong at once. That's why you've been questioning yourself, doubting your path, wondering if you even have the strength to keep going. But listen carefully. The weight you feel isn't a sign you're failing. It's proof that something extraordinary is about to break through for you. And the silent guardians? They're not just watching anymore. They're repositioning you in real time. That's why certain doors close no matter how hard you tried to open them. That's why people you thought would be part of your future are suddenly fading away. That's why opportunities you prayed for are being withheld. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. They see further than you can. They know what's waiting on the other side of your obedience. And they're aligning you with it, even when it feels like chaos. But here's where you need to be careful. While your guardians are working to protect you, the predators are working harder to provoke you. They want you distracted. They want you reactive. They want you stuck in cycles of pain and self-doubt. And if they can't destroy you, they'll try to wear you down until you sabotage yourself. That's why this season demands a new level of awareness. Protect your energy. Guard your vision. Move in silence when necessary. Because not everyone watching you wants you to win. And now we come to the question you've been waiting for. What exactly are the silent guardians protecting you from? The answer is both simple and unsettling. They're protecting you from what you can't yet handle. There are truths, betrayals, and battles happening around you right now that would shatter you if you saw them all at once. So they shield your eyes, divert your steps, and delay your timing until you're strong enough to face what's coming. You're being hidden not because you're unworthy, but because you're still being armed. And soon, very soon, the veil begins to lift. Pieces of the puzzle will start falling into place. You'll start seeing why certain people had to leave. You'll start understanding why the storms had to hit. And you'll begin realizing just how deeply protected you've been all along. But before that happens, you need to hear the one warning your guardians have been screaming in silence. Your greatest threat is about to come from somewhere you least expect. The question is, will you be ready when it happens? Because in part 4, I'm going to take you deeper into the hidden layers of this monitoring. Who's really watching you, why you've been kept in the dark, and the shocking truth about what happens when you finally awaken to the full power inside you. Before we go any further, take a deep breath, because from this moment on, the silence breaks. Everything you thought you knew about who's watching you, who's guiding you, and who's opposing you, is about to be turned upside down. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange pull in your spirit, the whispers you can't explain, the constant sense that something is moving behind the scenes of your life. It's because you are being prepared for something far greater than you realize, and the guardians monitoring you know what's coming. But here's the part most people aren't ready for. The very forces protecting you are also testing you. Yes, you heard that right. Not every storm in your life is an attack. Some are assignments. Some are orchestrated specifically to expose the strength you didn't know you had. You prayed for clarity, but clarity rarely comes through comfort. It comes through disruption. That betrayal you never saw coming? That sudden isolation? That unexpected loss? Those weren't punishments. They were training grounds. Your silent guardians allowed certain battles to touch you, not to break you, but to build you into someone unshakable. But while you've been fighting visible struggles, there's a deeper layer to this story, one hidden in plain sight. There are watchers, and not all of them are on your side. Some of them are ancient forces, older than human memory, operating in silence through people, patterns, and energies around you. They can't create your destiny, but they can manipulate distractions. They can't destroy your purpose, but they can delay it. And that's why your life has felt like constant resistance, because every step you take toward alignment threatens the power they have over you. This is why the silent guardians have kept you hidden for so long. You've wondered why doors closed when you were ready. You've questioned why certain people pulled away without reason. You've cried over opportunities that slipped through your hands. But listen carefully, it wasn't rejection, it was strategy. You were concealed until the right moment, protected from enemies who would have destroyed you if you'd stepped out too soon. But here's where the tension rises. The closer you move toward your calling, the louder the opposition becomes. Suddenly, people from your past reappear, chaos erupts in places you thought were secure, and temptations you thought you'd outgrown come knocking on your door again. That's not coincidence. That's pressure. That's the enemy studying you, hoping to exploit your patterns before you awaken fully to who you are. And here's what they fear most: an awakened chosen one. Because once you recognize the truth about your life, that nothing you've gone through has been random, that every pain carried purpose, that every setback was setting you up for acceleration, you become unstoppable. That's why the silent guardians are watching you so closely right now. They're measuring your choices. They're testing your patience. They're strengthening your discernment. Because soon you'll be trusted with things most people will never see. Pause for a moment right here. If you've been feeling lately like life is shaking you, pulling you, stretching you, hit the like button. It's not just a sign of agreement. It's a declaration that you're ready to step into the next level of who you are. But now I need you to prepare yourself, because what comes next is not gentle. The silent guardians are protecting you from things you're not even aware of yet, betrayals that haven't surfaced, dangers you haven't seen, enemies you don't know exist. Some of the people smiling at you now will not stand with you later. Some of the environments you're comfortable in today are designed to destroy you tomorrow. That's why so many things in your life have been stripped away. It wasn't punishment. It was positioning. And yet, here's where it gets unsettling. Sometimes the guardians allow certain shadows to get close. They let certain betrayals happen. They allow certain heartbreaks to touch you. Why? Because the only way to awaken you fully is to reveal what's hiding in plain sight. You would never see the truth about people, patterns, or even yourself if you were never tested by them. And so, while you feel abandoned, they are closer than ever, teaching you, shaping you, preparing you. But there's more, and this is where you need to lean in. You are not just being protected from external forces. You're being prepared to become something, a force, a light, a weapon in the hands of destiny. That's why you've felt misunderstood your whole life. That's why people sense something different about you before you even open your mouth. That's why you intimidate some without trying and inspire others without effort. You carry an energy you can't see but others can feel. And both light and darkness are drawn to it. This is why your path has been harder than most. The silent guardians have been training you in secret, testing you in silence, hiding you from people and places you thought you needed. They've been watching every decision, every reaction, every step, not because they doubt you, but because what you're stepping into requires precision. One wrong alignment could cost you everything, and they won't let you miss what's meant for you. But you have to understand this one truth: the more powerful your purpose, the more intense your monitoring. You are not just living, you are being forged. Every delay, every heartbreak, every rejection was intentional. Every closed door was divine. Every unanswered prayer was strategic. They've been shaping your character, sharpening your instincts, and stripping away everything that cannot survive in the next level of your life. And now, you're almost there. You can feel it, can't you? That pressure in your spirit, that pull on your soul, that sense that something massive is approaching. That's not paranoia, that's preparation. Something is shifting around you right now. Something bigger than you, bigger than your plans, bigger than your expectations. And the silent guardians are aligning you perfectly for the moment when everything changes. But before that shift happens, they need you to be ready for one final test. The greatest challenge isn't coming from outside forces, it's coming from within. Your patience, your trust, your discipline, your faith, they're about to be stretched further than ever before. And if you pass this, the veil lifts. The protection transforms into positioning. The silence turns into revelation. And the battles you never saw will finally make sense. But here's the part one need you to remember: the predators are watching too. Every hesitation, every fear, every secret doubt, they study it, hoping to exploit it. That's why, in this season, you need to move differently. Speak less. Pray more. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Not everyone can handle the weight of your calling. And not everyone watching you wants you to win. Soon, though, they won't be able to ignore you. Because in part 5, I'm going to take you into the revelation the silent guardians have been preparing you for. The real reason you've been hidden, the unseen battles shaping your life, and the truth about why your presence carries more power than you realize. This is where everything starts to connect. Listen carefully now, because from this point forward, we're stepping into the deepest layers of the unseen. This is the part you were meant to hear, the truth the silent guardians have been preparing you for since the moment you were marked as chosen. What I'm about to reveal isn't coincidence. You were meant to find this message. Everything you've gone through, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, the sleepless nights, the sudden shifts in your life, none of it was random. You've been living inside a divine strategy, where every move, every delay, every closed door was carefully orchestrated for a reason. And yet, until now, you haven't seen the full picture. That's because the guardians monitoring you haven't allowed you to. Not yet. You weren't ready, until now. Here's the truth: you've been hidden, protected, and shielded from attacks you never saw coming. Battles were fought on your behalf while you slept. Dangers were rerouted before you ever reached them. Enemies whispered your name in rooms you didn't even know existed, and still, you were covered. That time you felt like giving up, but something inside you kept going? That wasn't just willpower. That was intervention. That was them. But now, the silence is breaking, because it's time for you to awaken to the real reason you've been monitored so closely. Your life carries a ripple effect you don't yet fully understand. The decisions you make, the path you choose, the battles you fight, they affect more than just you. That's why your storms have felt heavier than most. That's why you've been tested in ways others around you can't relate to. You're carrying weight that impacts generations, and the silent guardians know what's at stake. But here's where it gets deeper. You haven't just been protected from physical danger. You've been shielded from spiritual sabotage. There are forces working day and night to dismantle your focus, to steal your peace, to confuse your vision. They plant people in your life, they tempt you with distractions, they surround you with noise hoping you'll drown out the whispers guiding you forward. And yet, no matter how many traps were set, you're still here. That's not luck. That's proof that your life has been fiercely defended. Think about the moments when something inside you told you, "Don't trust that person." Or when you walked into a place and instantly felt uneasy for no reason. That wasn't paranoia, that was protection. That was your guardians pulling you away before damage could reach you. And yet, sometimes, they allowed you to walk straight into the fire. Why? Because some lessons can't be taught, they have to be experienced. The heartbreaks, the betrayals, the nights you cried until your chest ached, none of it was wasted. Each one sharpened you, stripped you, and revealed who was truly for you, and who was never meant to stand beside you. And now, something is shifting. You can feel it in your spirit, can't you? The energy around you is changing. The people in your life are changing. The opportunities approaching you feel different. That's because you are entering a new phase, one where silence turns into revelation. The guardians monitoring you are no longer just protecting you, they are positioning you. They've been aligning pieces behind the scenes, connections, timing, resources, breakthroughs. Everything is being woven together in ways you can't yet see. But this shift comes with one warning: the opposition is watching too. And the closer you get to stepping into your calling, the more aggressive their tactics become. That's why you've been facing sudden resistance lately. That's why people you thought you could trust are revealing their true colors. That's why your patience is being tested in ways it never has before. It's not because you're cursed, it's because you're chosen. And chosen ones are monitored more intensely than anyone else. Pause for a moment and ask yourself this: why do you think your battles have been so different from the people around you? Why do you face storms others never even notice? Why do you feel things more deeply, sense shifts before they happen, and carry wounds no one else sees? It's because you are not like them. You are wired differently. Your spirit picks up what others miss. That's why you've been isolated. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why your path has been harder. But here's the secret the Guardians want you to know: the very things you thought were breaking you have actually been building you. Every rejection made you stronger. Every disappointment sharpened your discernment. Every betrayal clarified your vision. You have been forged in silence, molded in hidden places, and strengthened in battles no one clapped for. And now you are no longer who you used to be. You're being transformed into someone unstoppable. Yet there's something even more powerful you need to understand. You are being prepared to be revealed. For years, the Guardians have kept you hidden on purpose. They've kept certain doors closed, certain people distant, and certain opportunities out of reach. Not because you weren't ready for them, but because they weren't ready for you. The wrong exposure too soon would have destroyed what's meant to bloom in its perfect time. But that time is almost here. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange tension between where you are and where you know you're meant to be. That heaviness on your spirit. That sense that something massive is coming, but you can't put it into words yet. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. That's your silent guardians positioning you for a moment where everything in your life begins to connect. But here's the part most people will never understand. Before elevation comes exposure, and before exposure comes the final test. That's why you're being monitored so closely right now. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every step you take is being weighed. This is the season where silence becomes your greatest weapon. Stop explaining yourself. Stop oversharing. Stop inviting people into plans they're not meant to understand. The less they know, the safer your destiny becomes. You've been hidden for a reason. And soon, the reason will reveal itself in ways that leave even you speechless. But before that day comes, the Guardians want you to be ready, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Because when your breakthrough hits, everything around you will shift. People will change. Environments will change. Even how the unseen world reacts to you will change. Because once your light reaches its full strength, nothing will ever be the same again. But there's still one more truth you need to hear. The most dangerous threat in this battle has never been outside of you. It's been inside you all along. And in part 6, we're going to dive into the final transformation, why your inner battles are the key to unlocking your destiny, what the silent guardians have been preparing you for all this time, and the shocking truth about what happens when you finally step fully into your power. This is where everything accelerates. Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal is not for everyone. If you've made it this far, it means you were meant to hear this. This is where the silence ends, where the unseen becomes clear, and where you finally understand why your life has been anything but ordinary. The greatest battle you've ever faced has never been outside of you. It has always been inside you. The silent guardians have been monitoring you, not just to protect you from external threats, but to guide you through the war raging within your own soul. You've felt it, the endless pull between who you used to be and who you are becoming. That constant voice of doubt whispering, "You're not ready. You're not enough." That inner restlessness that keeps you awake at night, making you question your path, your worth, and even your purpose. And yet, despite everything, you're still here. That's not a coincidence. That's proof. Proof that there's something inside you greater than the chaos around you. But here's the part that most people never realize. Your inner battles were never random. Every fear, every insecurity, every deep wound from your past, they were planted there to either break you or build you. And the silent guardians have been watching, waiting, measuring every decision you make to see which side of you will rise. Think about the moments where you've been on the edge of giving up. The nights when you felt like your soul was collapsing under the weight of everything. And yet somehow, someway, you got back up. That's because they wouldn't let you fall. You've been carried through storms you didn't even know existed. Rescued from paths that would have destroyed you. But they didn't remove every challenge. Because there's a truth you needed to learn. You cannot step into your destiny without first conquering yourself. And that's why this season feels so heavy. That's why your heart feels like it's in constant tension. That's why the people around you are shifting, why relationships are breaking, why familiar places no longer feel safe. It's because you are being transformed, stripped down to the core, refined by fire. You're not losing your old life, you're outgrowing it. But here's the shocking part, and you need to prepare yourself for this. The closer you get to stepping into your purpose, the more violent the attacks become. The distractions get louder. The temptations grow stronger. The voices around you, and even inside you, start questioning your path. That's because the forces trying to stop you know what's coming if you succeed. They know the ripple effect your life carries. And so, they strike hardest when you are closest to your breakthrough. Have you noticed it lately? The sudden chaos? The unexpected resistance? The strange heaviness that comes out of nowhere? That's not random. That's a sign. It means you are closer than you think. The silent guardians are tightening their watch because you are standing on the edge of the moment your life was designed for. But they can't fight this next battle for you. This one is yours. This is the part where you have to choose. Will you keep shrinking into the old version of yourself, the one built on fear, self-doubt, and past wounds? Or will you step into the identity they've been preparing you for all along? Because here's the truth most people avoid: stepping into your calling will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you approval. It will cost you relationships you thought you'd never lose. But it will also give you something far greater: clarity, alignment, and unshakable power. And deep down, you already know it. You can feel it. That constant pull inside you, that voice whispering, "There's more. You were made for more." You've been ignoring it at times, doubting it, even running from it, but it's never stopped calling you. And the silent guardians have been waiting for the day you finally listen. Because when you do, everything changes. But there's something you need to understand, something they've been trying to show you in subtle ways. The greatest threat to your destiny has never been other people, and it has never been external forces. It has always been the unhealed parts of yourself. The silent guardians have been monitoring you to see if you can face your own shadows without being consumed by them. That's why the same patterns keep repeating. That's why you attract the same challenges in different forms. It's not punishment. It's preparation. Until you conquer the war inside, you cannot win the war outside. But here's the good news: you are closer than you think. You wouldn't feel this much pressure if you weren't on the edge of breakthrough. Pressure only intensifies when you're about to give birth to something greater than yourself. And right now, your spirit is expanding beyond the limits you thought were possible. This is why you've been isolated. Why so many people walked away. Why doors closed, plans failed, and relationships dissolved. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. They were clearing the path for where you're going. You're not meant to take everyone with you into this next chapter, because not everyone can survive the weight of your calling. And listen carefully, the silent guardians have been preparing you not just to survive, but to lead, to influence, to awaken others who are still trapped in the same cycles you've broken free from. You are being molded into someone who carries light in places where others only see darkness. That's why the attacks have been so relentless. Because the impact of your purpose threatens everything that thrives in shadow. But there's one last revelation, and it's the most important one yet. Once you step into alignment with who you were always meant to be, the monitoring doesn't stop. It intensifies. The guardians will walk with you more closely than ever before, because the higher you rise, the greater the resistance becomes. This is why they've been training you in silence. This is why they've been teaching you discernment, patience, and discipline. Because what's coming next requires a version of you that refuses to be shaken. And when that moment comes, when you finally embrace your identity, the hidden will be revealed. Every unanswered question, every unexplained delay, every painful detour, it will all make sense. You'll see why it had to happen exactly the way it did. You'll understand why you were chosen, why you were monitored, and why you were protected when others weren't. And in that moment, you'll realize something powerful: you were never walking alone. But we're not done yet. There's still one final layer, the moment where everything connects, where the silent guardians reveal their ultimate purpose, and where your destiny fully activates. That's where we're going in part 7. This is where the truth you've been waiting for finally comes to light. This is it. The moment everything has been leading to. If you've made it this far, it's because you were meant to hear these words. What I'm about to reveal will connect every unexplained sign, every unanswered question, and every strange moment in your life that never made sense, until now. The silent guardians who have been watching you, they were never here just to protect you. They've been preparing you. Every closed door, every sudden ending, every unexpected loss, it wasn't random. It was all part of a divine orchestration designed to push you toward one single truth: you were never meant to be ordinary. But before your purpose could activate, you had to be broken open. That's why the storms came. That's why the betrayals happened. That's why life stripped you down to your core, so that everything false could fall away, and only what's real would remain. Because the person you're becoming cannot be built on illusions. You've been walking through seasons where you've questioned yourself, doubted your worth, and wondered if you were even on the right path. You've cried silent tears nobody saw. You've carried burdens no one else understood. And yet, you survived. That survival wasn't accidental. It was proof that you are stronger than you realize, and that the silent guardians were never going to let your story end in defeat. But here's where everything shifts. The monitoring wasn't just for protection. It was preparation. They've been watching, testing, and aligning you for something far greater than you've imagined. Everything you've lost will make sense when you understand what you're about to step into. You see, there are two kinds of people in this world: those who live, and those who awaken. Most live their entire lives asleep, unaware of their calling, blind to their purpose, drowning in distractions. But you're different. You've been set apart. That's why you've felt out of place your whole life. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why people walked away, why you've been rejected, why you've always sensed there was something more, because there is. And now, the silent guardians are positioning you for a moment where everything in your life begins to align. But here's the warning: elevation attracts exposure. When you step into your light, you won't just be seen by those meant to help you, you'll be seen by those who want to stop you. That's why discernment will be your greatest weapon moving forward. Not everyone smiling at you is for you. Not everyone walking with you can be trusted. You've noticed it already, haven't you? The sudden tension in relationships. The unexpected distance between you and people you thought would always stay. That's not coincidence, that's cleansing. Before the next chapter begins, everything that can't go with you must fall away. Some people were only meant to be part of your story's beginning, not its ending. But here's the powerful truth: you are ready. Even when you doubt it. Even when fear whispers otherwise. Every trial has shaped you. Every setback has prepared you. Every hidden season has built a version of you that no longer needs validation, approval, or acceptance from anyone else to move forward. That's why your isolation was necessary, because solitude sharpens the chosen. And now, the silent guardians are about to reveal the next phase. It won't come with fireworks or grand announcements. It will happen quietly, almost imperceptibly at first. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities will flow toward you without force. Answers will arrive without struggle. It will feel as though the universe is rearranging itself to position you exactly where you're meant to be. But listen carefully. When this shift begins, you cannot afford to move recklessly. You must stay rooted in clarity. The forces that worked so hard to derail you before will come back stronger. Distractions will be disguised as blessings. Temptations will appear in forms that look harmless but carry hidden traps. This is why the silent guardians have trained you in discernment, so that you'll know what to accept and what to walk away from. And here's something you need to remember. The same storms that once terrified you will no longer break you. You are not the person you were when this journey began. You've been forged in fire. You've been tested in silence. And you've been strengthened in ways even you haven't fully recognized yet. You are walking into this next season carrying power you didn't know you had. But with power comes responsibility. The silent guardians have been monitoring you because your influence extends far beyond yourself. Every choice you make will create ripples that affect lives you may never even meet. This is why your calling is so heavily protected, because your purpose is bigger than you. It's about every soul connected to your journey. Pause for a moment and feel this. The heaviness you've been carrying is lifting. Can't you sense it? That quiet knowing deep inside, whispering, something is coming. Something greater. That isn't your imagination. That's alignment. That's the guardians confirming that your next chapter is already unfolding. But you must also understand this. The monitoring will never end. It will only deepen. Because the higher you rise, the greater the resistance. The closer you get to your purpose, the louder the opposition becomes. That's why silence will remain your greatest strength. Protect your plans. Guard your energy. Move with intention, not noise. And one day soon, you'll look back on this exact moment and realize something extraordinary. Nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreak. Not the losses. Not the delays. Every single twist in your journey was leading you here. To this point. To this awakening. To this becoming. You are no longer who you were. The old you has been stripped away. The silent guardians have watched, tested, and prepared you for this, and now, your destiny is no longer waiting. It's here. From this moment forward, everything changes. But remember this, your light is powerful, but it will also disturb the darkness around you. Some will be drawn to you. Others will be triggered by you. Don't let either distract you from the mission. Stay focused. Stay grounded. Stay silent when needed. Because now, it begins. The season you were created for. The alignment you've been waiting for. The purpose you were born to fulfill. The silent guardians are still watching. They've always been watching. But from this moment on, they're not just protecting you. They're walking beside you. You're not the same anymore. And nothing around you ever will be again.